ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे। Respected monks, dear devotees and participants of this online Vivekananda Saptaham conducted by Ramakrishna Movement Chennai on the eve of the 160th Jayanti celebrations of Swami Vivekananda. This year is the 125th year of founding of the Ramakrishna Mutt at Chennai. This year is also the 125th year of the founding of the Ramakrishna Mission Belur Mutt, and this year is also the 125th year of the homecoming of the Patriot Saint of India, Swami Vivekananda. On this sacred occasion, let us discuss some things about the Ramakrishna movement in general and the Ramakrishna movement of Chennai in particular. We know that the Ramakrishna movement had been started by none other than Sri Ramakrishna himself. When he was alive, Sri Ramakrishna had trained his disciples, had taught them spiritual disciplines, and towards the end of his life, he had made Narendranath, Swami Vivekananda, the leader of the group of his young disciples. He had asked all of them to obey Naren in all matters. He had even asked them to go out and beg for food, thus laying the foundation of the future monastic organization. After the passing away of Sri Ramakrishna, Naren and other young disciples, they formed themselves into a brotherhood. They were in a huge dilapidated house at Baranagar. They were practicing spiritual disciplines and they were even moving about, going around to places of pilgrimage and leading an itinerant life. In the year 1890, Swami Vivekananda, Narendranath, after having taken sannyasa and having assumed the name Swami Vivekananda, he went around the whole country and he led an itinerant life. He wanted a first-hand knowledge of the conditions of the people of India. And then we know that ultimately he went to Kanyakumari, and sitting on a rock and meditating there, the purpose of his life, the present and the future of India was made clear to him. And then he came northwards and he reached Chennai along with an accomplice of his, Mr. Manmathanath Bhattacharya. Having come to Chennai via Pondicherry, he was accommodated in the house of Mr. Bhattacharya, and Mr. Bhattacharya had informed a few friends of his in Mysore that he was accommodating an English-speaking Bengali Swami in his house, and his friends at Mysore, they informed their friends at Chennai about this brilliant and extraordinary English-speaking Swami. So half a dozen youth of Madras, they went to Manmathanath Bhattacharya's house They met Swami Vivekananda there. They saw his brilliant exposition on matters religious, philosophical, on science, literature, history, psychology, and they were charmed by his intelligence, by his prodigious memory. So gradually they started visiting him every day and they became followers of Swami Vivekananda. Swamiji was also asked to speak in the Triplicane Literary Society so that more number of people could hear him. And then the idea of going to America to attend the Parliament of Religions was taken up. Swamiji was in two minds. He was prepared to go, but at the same time, he did not get the will of the divine. He did not get to know the will of the divine. That is why he desperately wanted some means by which he could know that this is being willed by the Divine Mother herself. In fact, the young people of Madras, they had even collected funds to send Swamiji to America, but Swamiji, not having got the divine command, he asked them to distribute the money among the poor. And then one night in a dream, he saw Sri Ramakrishna walking on the waters of the ocean and then beckoning him to follow him. Swamiji was excited. He now knew that he has got the command. In spite of that, he wrote to the Holy Mother, Sri Sharada Devi, seeking her blessings, and then the Holy Mother gave her blessings, saying that he was destined to do the work of the Divine Mother. And then the youth of Madras, the disciples of Swamiji, they again collected money, and then he was given a send-off. Along with the help of the Raja of Khetri, Swamiji left India from the port of Bombay and he sailed towards America. And after having represented Hinduism in the Parliament of Religions in Chicago, Swamiji lectured in various places in America for a few years and ultimately returned to India in the year 1897. Again he came to Madras, and there he was received by the people of Madras in a grand manner. People were excited. They were welcoming a hero. And Swamiji was lodged in the ice house. For 9 days he was there. He met hundreds of people. He delivered 6 lectures in all in the city of Madras. And then before leaving, his disciples wanted a center to be opened in Madras, and Swamiji said that yes, he would certainly do it. He would send one of his brother disciples. And after going to Calcutta, he sent Swami Ramakrishna for this work. Swami Ramakrishna came to Chennai at the bidding of Swami Vivekananda. He was lodged in a cottage near ice house, and then afterwards he was shifted to the ice house itself. The ice house then belonged to one Biligiri Iyengar, a disciple of Swamiji. After the premature death of Biligiri Iyengar, the ice house was auctioned. Another devotee of Swamiji, Dr. Nanjunrao, he tried to purchase the ice house, but he fell short of 1,000 rupees, and so the ice house went out of hand. Swami Ramakrishna had lived there for almost 10 years, worshipping the master, taking classes, moving about and delivering lectures, and spreading the message of Sri Ramakrishna among the people of Madras and nearby places. And then we have a long history of how Swami Ramakrishna labored in spite of very intimidating circumstances. He carried on his work, and then the place was shifted. A land was gifted by one of the disciples, Kundaya Chitti, a land in Brody's Road. Then Swami Ramakrishna ji shifted there in the year 1907, and then he carried on his work. Publications started, magazines were started, Tamil magazine, Telugu magazine, and during Swamiji's time itself, his disciples had started the English magazine called the Brahmavadin, and then another magazine for the common man called Prabuddha Bharata. So, in this Ramakrishna movement in Madras, we find many great men were involved in this movement. They were men of great character, they were selfless, they were respectable, they were religious, they were patriotic, they supported Swami Vivekananda, they accepted his ideas, and then they helped in spreading the movement, the Ramakrishna movement here in the south. Among the notable names were one V. Subramanya Iyer, D.R. Balaji Rao, M.C. Alasinga Perumal, G. Venkataranga Rao, B.R. Rajam Iyer, G.G. Narasimhachar, C. Singaravelu Mudaliar, Ramaswamy Iyengar, Ramanujacharya, Dr. Nanjun Rao, and Biligiri Iyengar. All of them had contributed to the movement in South India. And then in course of time, the mutt developed, students' home was opened, Vivekananda College was opened, and then other schools were opened in the city of Madras, and then the movement grew, the mutt grew in its activities, and today at present it is a full-fledged center having thousands of devotees, having innumerable schools, colleges, and doing social service activities in the spirit of worship, and it is the heart of the Ramakrishna movement in the south. When we speak about the Ramakrishna movement, we ought to know the fundamental principles underlying the Ramakrishna movement. The Ramakrishna movement, it insists on direct spiritual realization. Doctrines, dogmas, theories, and all are good, but they don't count for much when it comes to the real practice of religion. Swamiji says that religion is realization. The truths have to be realized. So this is the core principle of the Ramakrishna movement. Here we just don't believe only in theories or doctrines and dogmas and rituals, but we believe that religion lies in realization. It all depends upon what we realize and how much we realize. We believe in awakening the consciousness of man. We have to awaken our consciousness, and we have to have higher and higher levels of consciousness. This is the main aim of the Ramakrishna movement. Secondly, the Ramakrishna movement insists on character and purity. We don't believe in miracle mongering. We don't believe in some supernatural feats. We believe in building up characters, in leading a pure life, in growing. We have to grow. Religion is not a task to be achieved overnight. It takes time, it takes a long period of time, and it takes continuous struggle. We have to keep on struggling for our betterment till we realize the goal. This is the second fundamental principle underlying the Ramakrishna movement. The Ramakrishna movement is an underlying symbol of unity in Hinduism. We believe all the sects of Hinduism, we accept all the sects of Hinduism. All that is best in Hinduism we accept, and various conceptions of the goal the Ramakrishna movement accepts. It accepts all the pathways to God, and it accepts all in the social level without discriminating on the basis of caste, creed, etc. So this is one important principle of the Ramakrishna movement. We are all comprehensive. We include the entire gamut of religion and religious principles. Thirdly, we come to religious harmony. The Ramakrishna movement accepts all religions. The Ramakrishna movement believes that all religions have something good in them. All religions are valid paths to God, and all religions have something in common. There are certain truths which are common to all religions, and a harmony can be and should be established among all the religions of the world. Again, the Ramakrishna movement is one of enduring dynamism. The Ramakrishna movement is a dynamic movement. It is growing day by day. It involves thousands and thousands of followers. The field of social service is wide. It accepts all people of all sections of society. All people of society, those who are suffering and in need of help, they receive the help of the Ramakrishna Mutt and Mission Centers. The Ramakrishna movement has a very positive outlook, not like certain religious sects which say that the world is like a dream and that the world is unreal, and so we have to abandon the world, we have to give up the world, and we have to realize God. But in the Ramakrishna movement, the world, entire world as it is accepted. It is accepted as a manifestation of God. There is no sort of escapism in the sense that in order to realize God, we have to give up the world. The world will be there, and we can try to realize God while being in the world and have a very positive approach to life, a positive approach to the people living in the world, a positive approach towards God and society. This positive approach is a very important factor in the outlook of the Ramakrishna movement. And the centers of the Ramakrishna movement are modern. Unlike traditional centers, they have a modern outlook. They have been built in such a way that they can accommodate large number of peoples. They are neat and clean, and they help the people in giving them place for sitting and doing the religious practices. The activities are being done regularly, punctually, efficiently, and the monks of the Ramakrishna order, they are up to date. Their food habits, their clothing, their work, their manners, all are in accordance with the prevalent practices in society. So the Ramakrishna Mission, they have a modern outlook. And then the relationship between the monks and the devotees. The monks and the devotees bear a very cordial relationship based on pure love for the ideal, love for Sri Ramakrishna, love for the Ramakrishna movement. So there's a very good and healthy relationship between the monks and the lay devotees. And then in the Ramakrishna Mission, we consider work as worship. The service that we perform is not just social service, it is not just showing compassion, it is not just helping others, it is work done as worship. The recipients of the service rendered by the workers, the devotees, and the monks of the Ramakrishna Mission are none other than God Himself. So, with this attitude in mind, the followers of the Ramakrishna movement, they go about serving people. So, these are the features of the Ramakrishna movement, the main features which we ought to keep in mind. One more important thing that we ought to know is our religious attitude. What do we mean by religion? What does Swami Vivekananda mean by religion? It is very important to have a good idea of religion and our religious outlook. Swami Vivekananda, he has made religion man-centered. The entire religion being followed by the Ramakrishna movement is centered on man. There are religions, there are sects which may be centered exclusively on God, on heaven, on the world, but here the religion that is being followed is exclusively centered on man primarily. It is man that is important. The man has to grow, the man has to be transformed, his spiritual consciousness has to change. He has to achieve spiritual consciousness of higher and higher levels. So the man is important here, not just holding on to certain principles, but a very positive growth for man. Man has to know how to strengthen himself, how to stand on his own feet, how to earn a living, how to be strong, how to be lovable, how to love others, how to conduct himself in society. Man has to learn all these things, and it is a process of continuous growth for man. The second principle of religion which Swamiji propounds is that the religion is experience based. We have to experience religion. That is the central core, like we had discussed before. We have to experience, not just claiming certain theories or believing certain dogmas or performing certain rituals, but we have to experience. This is the core of the Ramakrishna concept of religion. This concept we had earlier. The rishis of olden days, they had this conception of divinity in everything in this universe. So they had a very positive outlook, and in course of time, when forces external forces took over our nation. That time degradation started, and then a sort of negative outlook took over the entire nation. So we had lost sight of this positive outlook of the rishis, seeing divinity in everything and taking life to be manifestation of the divine. So this outlook that we had lost, we are again regaining. So this is the second core principle of religion in the Ramakrishna movement. Another very important thing which Swami Vivekananda has introduced is that religion is all inclusive. Normally, when we speak about religion, we think that going to a particular place of worship, doing some rituals, and then doing some service, that is all of religion. But Swamiji says that religion is anything that we do which takes us forward in our spiritual life, whether we know it or not. When we do it consciously, we term it as religion. When we do it unconsciously, we term it as values. Man trying to be good, trying to do good. So Swamiji says that whatever we do, everything is a religious act. For being religious, we need not necessarily go to a place of worship. We have to think that whatever activities we are doing, it is religion only. It is taking us towards God. This is an important aspect of the religious outlook of the Ramakrishna order. And we have to know that Swami Vivekananda or Sri Ramakrishna, they have not started any new religion or any new religious sect. Swamiji says that whatever he has told, whatever he has spoken is nothing but the Upanishads. It is Upanishads all over, and it is Upanishadic truths that Swamiji speaks about in modern language so that people will be able to understand. When an incarnation is born, he is born to revive the old religion. The same religious principles which have been covered by layers of ignorance, those layers are removed, and the eternal principles of religion, they are brought to the forefront. And this is what Swamiji has done, this is what Sri Ramakrishna has done. So the eternal principles of religion, the principles of Sanatana Dharma, they have been brought to the forefront, and people's attention have been drawn to them so that they understand what true religion is, and they follow religion in its proper perspective. And another important factor of the religious outlook of the Ramakrishna mission, Ramakrishna movement, is that our religion is service oriented. Apart from having a positive religious outlook, we have to put it into practice, and we have to serve the needy. The service of the needy is a very important aspect of the religious outlook of the Ramakrishna movement. People have to be served. Why should we serve people? Why can we not help only ourselves and lead a nice, comfortable life? What is wrong in being selfish? Why should I be unselfish? The reply is that we have to be unselfish because it is a principle of life. It is a principle of creation. This world is one. Materially, it is one. It is one mass of matter, and the mental level also, it is one cosmic mind. The minds of all the living beings are parts of that one cosmic mind, and spirit is one. It is one truth that is manifesting itself through all these various diversities of the world. So we have to accept this oneness. We cannot hope to be happy when our neighbors are unhappy and are suffering. I cannot dream of living in peace when my next door neighbor is a murderer, when he is a thief. So, in order that I be happy and lead a peaceful life, the people around me also have to be happy and they also have to lead a peaceful life, because existence is one and we are all part of that one existence. So, it is a law of nature. We have to help and promote oneness. We have to promote love. We have to promote care. We have to promote goodness. All this we have to do if we have to survive. If we go the other way around, we are going to destroy ourselves. So this is a basic law of creation and all of us have to fall in line with this. If only we fall in line with this, we can make the world a place worthy of living. When it comes to renunciation, which is an essential of religion, any religion for that matter, we think that renunciation is only giving up. It is leaving, it is escaping, it is going away somewhere, giving up actions. But we have to know that renunciation has a positive aspect also. Renunciation can take the form of service. We can renounce by serving others. We can renounce by very much being in this world, by doing what we are doing, and yet we can lead a life of renunciation. What we have to renounce is selfishness. We have to renounce the feeling that I have to enjoy, I have to possess, I have to keep to myself. That feeling we have to renounce, and we have to have the feeling that all of us will enjoy, all of us will live in peace, all of us will live in happiness. When we strive for the goodness and the happiness of all the people of this world, renunciation automatically comes in. So this is a positive aspect of renunciation which we all are practicing and which is necessary to be religious. So here we find that religion as described by Swami Vivekananda is a completely new interpretation of the ancient principles, and all of us, we can be religious, we should be religious, and we have to be religious if we have to be happy and peaceful, if we have to realize our goals, which is eternal happiness and eternal peace. All of us have to be religious and we can be religious. Swami Vivekananda, he believed this, and that is why he has given out religious ideas without keeping anything a secret. All the truths of the scriptures which lie hidden in the Vedas and the Vedanta, in the Upanishads, all the truths Swamiji had given out so that people should come to know of these truths, they should think for themselves, they should practice the truths, and they should realize God for themselves. This all can do and all have to do if we are to lead a good life on earth. So we find that Swami Vivekananda has given us a grand concept of religion, and the Ramakrishna Movement has given us a grand opportunity for our own growth, for our own development, for building up our characters, for forming our personalities, and this is open for all. And in this Ramakrishna movement, hundreds of people have contributed. They have helped in various ways to start this movement, and hundreds of people are now carrying this movement forward. Innumerable people, they have been benefited by the principles, by the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda, the Holy Mother Sri Sharada Devi. They have molded their lives. They have got peace. They have got happiness. They have got satisfaction, contentment. And we find that this Ramakrishna movement is an ever-growing movement. Swamiji says that this movement will continue for 1,500 years. This is just the beginning. So in the coming years, we will see more and more people being drawn towards Sri Ramakrishna, towards Swami Vivekananda, towards the Ramakrishna ideal, towards the Ramakrishna movement, and we will find that so many people will be benefited, and this huge movement, this huge organization will go forward, and in the centuries to come, it will have influenced so many in this world. So this day we pay our homage to all the great personalities who have been a part of this great movement. We wish well for all those personalities, those who are now present, engaged in carrying forward this movement, and we pray for all those who will be coming in the future, and all many events, great events will unfold themselves in the years to come. Our prayers to Sri Ramakrishna, our prayers to the Holy Mother Sri Sharada Devi, and our prayers to Swami Vivekananda for their eternal blessings on all of us. Let all of us proceed towards our goal. Let us realize our goal of God realization, and we pray for all the people of this world. Let all be happy, let all be peaceful, let all be blissful, let all be united. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.